My husband said he was going to Toronto for a 2-year work assignment. I saw him off in tears. But the moment I got home, I transferred every dollar from our joint account, $650,000, into my personal account. The next day, I went to the courthouse and filed for divorce. Because what my husband didn't know was that I had already discovered the truth behind his business trip. And by the time his plane landed in Toronto, my revenge had already begun. The terminal at O'Hare International Airport was packed with travelers. Suitcases rolled across the floor. Boarding announcements echoed overhead. People hurried through the crowds, excited for their trips or emotional goodbyes. And in the middle of it all, I stood there holding Mark's hand tightly. Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. "Mark, do you really have to be gone for 2 whole years?" I asked, my voice trembling. Mark gently wiped the tears from my cheeks. "Hannah, you know how important this project is for my career," he said softly. 2 years will fly by. "I'll video call you all the time. But I'll miss you so much," I whispered as I buried my head into his chest. He chuckled quietly and patted my back. "Silly girl," he said. "I'll miss you too. But this is a huge opportunity for our future. When I come back, we'll finally have enough money to put a down payment on a house in a better neighborhood." Just then, the boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Mark kissed my forehead one last time. "Wait for me." I stood there, frozen, watching his back disappear through the security checkpoint, my vision blurred with tears. Around me, people continued rushing past. No one noticed the woman crying in the corner of the airport. But if they had known what I was really thinking, they would have realized something very different. I slowly left the airport and got into an Uber. Leaning my head against the window, I watched the familiar streets of Chicago blur past. The driver glanced at me in the rearview mirror. "Seeing someone off?" he asked. I nodded quietly. "Must be your boyfriend or husband," he said kindly. "My husband," I replied softly. The driver sighed. "It's tough for couples these days," he said, "but don't worry. A good man always comes back." I forced a small smile, but I didn't respond, because I already knew the truth. My husband wasn't coming back. When I arrived at our condo in Lincoln Park, the apartment felt strangely quiet. I walked through the door slowly. My eyes landed on the pair of slippers Mark had left near the entrance. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. 5 years of marriage, and I had been such a fool. I kicked off my heels and walked into the living room. Then I sat down on the sofa and pulled out my phone. Opening my banking app, I stared at the screen. The number glowed brightly. $650,482.17, that was our entire life savings. 5 years of marriage, 5 years of work. 5 years of my salary being deposited directly into that account. Mark had always said it was better for financial planning, and I trusted him. I trusted him completely, until 3 days ago. 3 days earlier, I had left work early. I wanted to surprise Mark, but as I approached our apartment building, I saw something that made my heart stop. Mark was walking out of a cafe. And he wasn't alone. A woman stood beside him. Her arm was wrapped around his. They were laughing together, intimately, comfortably. Like lovers, I froze where I stood. Mark didn't notice me. He walked the woman to the curb and called a taxi for her. Before she got inside, he leaned down and kissed her cheek. My heart felt like it was being crushed in a vice. I could barely breathe. But instead of confronting him, I hid behind a tree and waited. After the cab drove away, Mark casually walked back toward our building, like nothing had happened. That night, he came home acting completely normal. "Hannah, sorry," he said casually. "Late meeting at the office." He kissed my cheek. "Have you eaten?" I forced myself to smile. "I already ate," I said. "There's a plate in the oven for you." "You're the best," he replied with a grin. As he heated his dinner in the kitchen, I sat in the living room watching him. And suddenly, the man I had loved for 5 years felt like a complete stranger. Later that evening, Mark mentioned something casually. "Oh, by the way," he said. "The company has a big project in Toronto. They want me to lead it. I might have to stay there for 2 years. My hand trembled slightly. 2 years, I asked quietly. Yeah, he said excitedly. If I succeed, my boss promised a promotion to vice president. Then he wrapped his arms around me. You'll stay here and keep working. I'll send you money every month. 2 years. In that moment, everything suddenly made sense. He wasn't leaving for work. He was leaving for her. The next day, I took a personal day from work. Then I hired a private investigator. A week later, he handed me a thick envelope. Inside were photographs. Photos of Mark holding hands with the woman on Michigan Avenue. Photos of them checking into a luxury hotel. Photos of them dining together romantically. Her name was Claire Sutton. And according to the investigator, she was the new marketing director at Mark's company. But the worst part wasn't the affair. The worst part was their plan. Mark wasn't just going to Toronto temporarily. He was planning to move there permanently with Claire. And the condo he bought there was paid for with money from our joint account. 5 years of my salary, gone. Then I saw the screenshots of their text messages. One message made my stomach twist. Claire wrote, "She's just a woman." "What can she do?" Mark replied. "Her salary goes into our joint account. She has almost no personal savings. After the divorce, she won't be able to fight me." I slowly closed the file. 5 years of marriage, and to him I was nothing more than a bank account. That's when I made my decision. The next morning, I went straight to the bank. "I want to transfer the entire balance from our joint account," I told the teller. She stared at me in shock. "Ma'am, that's over $600,000. "I know," I said calmly. "Please transfer it to my personal account." A few seconds later, the screen flashed. Transfer successful. Just like that, our entire life savings was mine. So when I stood at the airport crying as Mark left for Toronto, those tears weren't just sadness. They were the final goodbye to the man who betrayed me. Because by the time his plane landed in Canada, I had already filed for divorce. And the game he thought he was winning had only just begun. I said, "Is there anything else?" Mark was taken aback. He shook his head. "Then please leave," I said, pointing to the door. He looked at me, his eyes filled with bitterness. "Hannah, do you really not hate me at all?" I thought for a moment. "I used to hate you. I hated you so much I wanted revenge, but I don't hate you anymore. I realized hating someone is exhausting. You're not worth it. Are you happy now?" he asked. "Very happy," I smiled. "Happier than I ever was with you." That sentence was like a dagger to his heart. He gave a bitter laugh, turned, and left the coffee shop. Watching his retreating back, I suddenly realized that the man I once loved so desperately was now just a stranger to me. Time is a wonderful thing. It heals all wounds. Now my days are full and peaceful. I wake up, practice yoga for an hour, then make myself a leisurely breakfast. At 9:00 a.m., I open the coffee shop. For lunch, I'll make something simple like pasta or a sandwich. In the afternoon, if it's not busy, I'll sit by the window and read. I've recently gotten into psychology, and it's fascinating. In the evenings, I'll meet friends for dinner or watch a movie at home. On weekends, I go hiking in the nearby state parks or visit the Art Institute. Life is quiet, but it's beautiful. Most importantly, I found myself again. I don't need to depend on anyone. I can live my life independently and face the world on my own terms. 6 months ago, Ben asked me out again. "Hannah, I've waited 2 years for you," he said. "I know you've been through a lot, and I'm not rushing you, but I want you to know that I'm still here waiting." In that moment, I felt that maybe I could give him a chance. "Ben," I said, "I'm willing to try." He was ecstatic and hugged me tightly. "Really, really," I smiled. "But I have to be honest, I'm not sure if I love you yet. I'm just willing to give us a chance. That's enough." "That's more than enough," he said. "I'll show you with my actions that I'm worthy of your love. We've been together for 3 months now." He's wonderful to me, gentle, considerate, and supportive. He respects my opinions, supports my career, and never pressures me into doing anything I don't want to do. Being with him feels comfortable and liberating. Maybe this is what real love is supposed to feel like. Not a whirlwind of passion, but a steady stream. Not possession, but respect. Not confinement, but freedom. I don't know what our future holds, but I'm willing to try because I believe that as long as I love myself enough, am independent enough, and strong enough, I won't be hurt again. A few days ago, I got a message from an old acquaintance who knew Mark. He said Mark and Claire had broken up. She left him when she found out he was broke. He's now alone in Toronto, struggling to make ends meet. He asked if I could lend him some money to get through this tough time. I looked at the message and smiled. I replied, "I'm sorry. I can't help you." Then I blocked the number, not because I'm heartless, but because I know his problems are of his own making. When he betrayed me, lied to me, and hurt me, did he ever consider my feelings? Now that he's down on his luck, he remembers me. Sorry, I'm not a recycling bin. I'm not here for anyone's emotional baggage. I just want to love myself and live my life. Last week, I went to a college reunion. Everyone was catching up. Some got promotions, some had their second child, some got divorced. When it was my turn, I said, "I'm divorced. I own a coffee shop. I have a new boyfriend and I'm very happy." Everyone was surprised and congratulated me. A classmate asked, "Hannah, you don't regret getting divorced. After all, you were married for 5 years." I shook my head. No regrets. If I hadn't gotten divorced, I might have spent my whole life living a lie. The divorce was painful, but it allowed me to find myself again. "You're so brave," another classmate said. "A lot of women in your situation would have just put up with it for the sake of the family." "I didn't have children then, so the choice was easier," I said. And I believe an unhappy family is more damaging to a child anyway. Everyone nodded in agreement. That night, I had a bit to drink. When I got home, I stood on my balcony looking at the city lights. I thought about myself 3 years ago, the woman who tearfully saw her husband off at the airport. Back then, I thought my world was ending. But here I am now, living better than ever before. I proved that a woman doesn't need anyone to live a wonderful life. Today, a special customer came into the coffee shop. She was a young girl, probably in her early 20s. She ordered a latte and sat in a corner, quietly crying. I walked over and gently asked, "Do you need a tissue?" She looked up, her eyes red. "Thank you." I handed her a tissue and sat down across from her. "If you don't mind, would you like to talk about it?" She hesitated for a moment, then nodded. It turned out she had just found out her boyfriend was cheating on her. She didn't know what to do, forgive him or break up. He said it was a one-time mistake, that he still loves me. The girl said, "But I feel so hurt, so confused." Looking at her, I remembered myself 3 years ago. "Listen to me," I said earnestly. "There's no such thing as just once when it comes to cheating. It's either 0 times or countless times. If you forgive him this time, he'll do it again. And someone who truly loves you would never hurt you like this. But we've been together for 3 years. I don't want to throw it all away," the girl cried. 3 years is a long time," I said. "But if that relationship is causing you pain, it's not worth holding on to. You have to learn to love yourself, to respect yourself. Don't waste your youth on someone who doesn't deserve it." The girl looked at me, tears glistening in her eyes. "You're right, I know what I have to do," I smiled. "Good for you, you'll meet someone better." Watching her walk away, I suddenly felt that my experience could help others. Perhaps that's the meaning of pain. It makes us grow, and it enables us to help others grow, too. 3 months later, one evening, I was closing out the register at the coffee shop when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a woman's voice said, "Am I speaking with Miss Hannah Miller?" "Yes, this is she. This is Officer Chen from the Toronto Police Service," she said. "We need to inform you of a situation regarding your ex-husband, Mr. Mark Evans." My heart skipped a beat. "What's wrong?" "Mr. Evans has been arrested for investment fraud and embezzlement," the officer said. "According to our investigation, he has been running a Ponzi scheme for several years, with the total amount involved exceeding 20 million Canadians." I was stunned. Furthermore, the officer continued, "Before his arrest, he left a letter to be delivered to you." In the letter, he states that a portion of the money he used to purchase the property in Canada came from these illegal funds. The Crown is now seizing these assets, which may involve you. My hand holding the phone started to tremble. Also, the officer paused. Mr. Evans stated that he never loved you, that he married you solely for the voice on the other end kept talking, but I couldn't hear it anymore. I looked at my phone screen and saw another call coming in. The caller ID said Ben. I hesitated for a second, told the officer, "I understand," and hung up. But just as I was about to answer Ben's call, the door to the coffee shop burst open. A strange man rushed in and stared at me. "Hannah Miller, I'm one of Mark Evans's creditors. You have to pay back his debt." I looked at the strange man before me, forcing myself to remain calm. The few remaining customers in the shop were startled by the sudden intrusion. "Sir, please calm down," I said, my voice as steady as I could make it. "Mark and I are divorced. His debts are not my responsibility, not your responsibility," the man scoffed. "You were his wife. Don't you know about marital debt? Mark owes me $5 million. You have to pay it back. I need to see a promissory note," I said. "And proof that this debt was incurred during our marriage and was used for our shared living expenses. Otherwise, I have no obligation to repay this debt." The man was taken aback, clearly not expecting this response. Just then, Ben rushed in. He must have been worried when I didn't answer his call. "Hannah, are you okay?" he said, stepping in front of me to shield me from the man. "Sir, whatever the issue is, we can discuss it calmly." "Who are you?" the man asked wearily. "I'm Hannah's boyfriend," Ben said. "Regarding the debt you mentioned, we can resolve it through legal channels. If you continue to cause a scene, I will call the police." The man looked at us, then at the other customers in the shop. Finally, he snorted. "Fine, we'll see you in court." He turned and left. Ben closed the door and wrapped his arms around me. "You must have been terrified." I leaned into his embrace, my heart pounding. I had put on a brave face, but I was actually scared. "I'm so glad you're here," I whispered. "Silly girl." "I told you I would protect you," he said, gently patting my back. "What was that about a debt?" I told him about the phone call from the police. After listening, Ben's brows furrowed. "That bastard, Mark, what else has he done?" "I had no idea," I sighed. "I thought after the divorce I would be done with him. I never expected all this." "Don't worry," Ben said. "I'll go with you to see your lawyer tomorrow. You're divorced, and your assets have been legally divided. His criminal activities and debts in Canada have nothing to do with you." I nodded, but a sense of unease still lingered. That night, I couldn't sleep. The police officer's words echoed in my mind. Mr. Evans stated that he never loved you, that he married you solely for what? To steal my money. Or was there another motive? I suddenly realized that from the very beginning, I might have been just a pawn in his elaborate game. The next day, Ben accompanied me to see Miss Davis. After hearing the whole story, she let out a sigh of relief. "Miss Miller, you don't need to worry too much. First, you and Mr. Evans are divorced and your assets have been legally divided. Second, according to marital law, any debt incurred by one spouse in their own name that is not for the family's daily needs is not considered joint marital debt unless the creditor can prove that the debt was used for shared living, shared business, or was based on the mutual consent of both spouses." "What about the $5 million that man mentioned?" I asked. "He needs to provide evidence that the debt was incurred during your marriage and was used for your shared life." Miss Davis said from his reaction, "He probably can't produce such evidence." "And what about what the police said, that some of the money Mark used to buy the condo in Canada was from his illegal activities? That property was already divided in the divorce settlement with half awarded to you." "Correct," Miss Davis said, reviewing the previous judgment. "If the police want to seize it, they need to prove that you were aware of and participated in the illegal activities. Otherwise, as a good faith third party, your share of the property is protected by law." Hearing this, I finally felt a sense of relief. But Miss Davis added, "However, you should still be prepared." Mr. Evans's case is quite serious, and there may be other creditors who will come looking for you. I suggest you keep all your documents, including the divorce decree and property settlement agreement. If anyone harasses you, call the police immediately." I nodded. I understand. Thank you, Miss Davis. Walking out of the law firm, Ben held my hand. Don't be afraid, I'm here. I looked at him, a wave of warmth washing over me. In the following weeks, more people came to my door, claiming to be Mark's creditors. Some had promissory notes, others had bank transfer records. All of them said Mark owed them money and demanded that I pay. Following Miss Davis's advice, I asked each of them to provide proof that the debt was incurred during our marriage and was used for our shared life. Not a single one of them could. Most of the loans were made after our divorce, and some of the promissory notes were obvious forgeries. I documented everything and handed it over to Miss Davis to handle. But the trouble still took a toll on my life. The coffee shop's business suffered because people kept coming to cause a scene and customers were scared away. My mood plummeted, and I was constantly on edge, worrying about what new trouble would come next. Ben saw my distress and was heartbroken. "Hannah, why don't we move the shop to a new location?" he suggested. "Or maybe close it for a while, take a break, and reopen after this blows over." I shook my head. "No, I can't let Mark's mess ruin my life. I worked so hard to get where I am. I can't give up." "No buts," I said firmly. "He's hurt me once. I won't let him destroy what I have now." Ben looked at me, his eyes full of admiration. "Okay, I support you, but you have to promise me that if you run into any trouble you can't handle, you'll tell me." "I promise." A month later, there was finally a breakthrough. News came from the Canadian police. Mark's case was clear. He was indeed guilty of large-scale investment, fraud, and embezzlement, and would face severe criminal penalties. The police also confirmed that I was unaware of his illegal activities and was in fact one of his victims. Therefore, the assets awarded to me in the divorce settlement would not be seized. Hearing this news, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Miss Davis also resolved the issues with the creditors. Through legal proceedings, all the debts were confirmed as Mark's personal debts and had nothing to do with me. Gradually, the troublemakers stopped coming and business at the coffee shop returned to normal. My life was finally getting back on track. But I knew this experience had taught me a profound lesson. I thought a divorce would be a clean break, but a person's past always finds ways to affect their present. I needed to be more careful, more vigilant in my life. That night, the Toronto police called me again. "Miss Miller, Mr. Evans would like to say something to you. Are you willing to listen?" I hesitated for a moment. "Okay." Mark's voice came on the line, weak and frail. "Hannah, go on, I'm listening," I said calmly. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know I wronged you. I did so many terrible things." I remained silent, waiting for him to continue. "The truth is, I married you with an ulterior motive from the start." Mark's voice was filled with regret. "I saw how naive and kind you were, and I saw your steady income. I wanted to use you to take your money for my investments, for my business." My heart felt like it was being pricked by a needle. I had suspected it, but hearing him admit it still hurt. "I thought I could succeed," he said. "I thought I could make a lot of money and then give you a better life. But I was wrong. I was too greedy. I shouldn't have gotten involved in illegal fundraising. I shouldn't have cheated so many people. And what about Claire?" I asked. "Claire? She was a victim, too," Mark said with a bitter laugh. "She thought I was rich. She was with me for the money. When she found out I was a fraud, she left." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "Hannah, I know saying sorry is useless now." Mark said, "I just wanted to tell you that during our 5 years together, even though I started with a motive later on, I really did love you. But I was too greedy, too foolish. And I destroyed everything." I opened my eyes and said calmly, "Mark, you know what I hate the most? It's not that you stole my money. It's that you played with my feelings. For 5 years, I treated you as the most important person in my life. I trusted you, depended on you, loved you. And what about you? You treated me like a tool, a pawn to be used. I know." His voice was filled with pain. "But I also have to thank you," I said. "Thank you for showing me your true colors, for letting me cut my losses in time. If it weren't for you, I might have spent my whole life as that naive, easily deceived girl." "Hannah, this is the last time we will speak." I cut him off. "From now on, we go our separate ways. I hope you reflect on your actions in prison and become a better person." With that, I hung up the phone. After the call, I sat on the sofa in a daze. Ben came and sat next to me. "Are you still sad?" I shook my head. "Not sad, just a little regretful." "Regretful about what?" "Regretful for those 5 years. Regretful that I once loved someone so unworthy," I said. "But I don't regret the experience. It made me grow. It made me stronger." Ben took my hand. "You know what I admire most about you, Hannah? It's your resilience. You've been through so much pain, but you haven't let it break you. Instead, you've become more independent, more courageous." I looked at him, a wave of warmth spreading through my heart. "Ben, thank you for being by my side through all this." I said, "I don't think I could have gotten through it without you." "Silly girl, we're a couple. That's what I'm here for," he said. "And I should be thanking you for giving me the chance to take care of you, to love you." That night, we talked for a long time. We talked about the past, the present, and the future. Ben said he wanted to marry me, to give me a home. I told him I was willing, but I needed time. I needed to be sure that he truly loved me, not just pied me or wanted to save me. He said he understood, and that he would wait no matter how long it took. In that moment, I finally understood what true love was. It's not a passionate storm, but a steady, gentle stream. It's not about possession and control, but about respect and understanding. It's not about demanding someone to change for you, but about embracing them for who they are. 6 months later, business at the coffee shop was booming. I hired 2 employees, a recent college graduate named Chloe and a woman in her 40s named Maria. Chloe was a quick learner, and Maria was hardworking and kept the shop spotless. With their help, my life became much easier. I started to have more time for myself. I signed up for a photography class and discovered the joy of capturing life through a lens. I also started writing. I wrote about my experiences and submitted them to several lifestyle magazines. To my surprise, a few of my articles were published, and I received many letters from readers. Many of them had similar experiences, hurt in their marriages, and unsure of what to do. I replied to every letter encouraging them to be brave, to make their own choices. I told them that a woman doesn't need anyone to live a wonderful life. I told them that leaving someone who doesn't love you isn't a failure, but a rebirth. I told them that to find true happiness, you must first learn to love and respect yourself. Last winter, Ben proposed to me. He took me for a walk on the beach. The Chicago winter was cold, the wind biting, but my heart was warm. We walked along the shore, our footprints appearing and disappearing with the waves. "Hannah." Ben suddenly stopped and turned to me. "I have something to tell you." "What is it?" I asked curiously. He got down on one knee, pulled a small box from his pocket, and opened it to reveal a diamond ring. "Hannah Miller, will you marry me?" he asked, looking into my eyes. "I know you've been through a painful marriage, and I know you're afraid, but I want you to know that I'm not Mark. I will spend my whole life loving you, protecting you, and making you happy. I will never lie to you, never betray you, never hurt you. I just want to walk through the rest of my life with you." I looked at him, tears streaming down my face. "Ben," I choked. "If you're not ready, I can wait," he said. "No matter how long, I'll wait." I shook my head and smiled through my tears. "No need to wait. I'm ready." He stood up excitedly, slipped the ring onto my finger, and pulled me into a tight embrace. The wind howled and the waves crashed against the shore. But we held each other like 2 trees intertwined, never to be separated again. Our wedding was simple. We only invited our closest family and friends. No lavish venue, no expensive dress, just the most sincere blessings. My mom held my hand, her eyes filled with tears. "Hannah, I'm so happy to finally see you happy." "I am happy, Mom," I smiled. "Ben is a good man, you have to cherish him." My mom said, "I will." At the wedding, Ben said to me, "Hannah, thank you for marrying me. I promise I will spend my whole life loving you and making you the happiest woman in the world." I looked at him, my heart full of love. I knew this time I had chosen right. Married life is peaceful and happy. Ben is thoughtful and caring. He'll give me a massage when I'm tired, cook dinner when I'm busy, and make me laugh when I'm feeling down. He respects my career and supports my dreams. He never asked me to give up the coffee shop to be a stay-at-home wife. In fact, he often comes to help out. We run the coffee shop together, and we plan our future together. This spring, I found out I was pregnant. I was both excited and nervous. Excited to finally have a child of my own and nervous about whether I could be a good mother. Ben was even more excited than I was. He went for walks with me every day, cooked nutritious meals, and bought a stack of parenting books to study. "Hannah, who do you think the baby will look like?" he'd ask. "Of course they'll look like you," I'd laugh. "I hope it's a boy, handsome like you. I hope it's a girl, beautiful like you," he'd say. We dreamed about our future, about our little family. The pregnancy was tough, but I was happy. I knew this child was conceived in love, a symbol of my love with Ben. During my 5th month of pregnancy, I received a special letter. It was from Mark's mother. In the letter, she apologized to me. She said she was sorry for not raising her son well, for causing me so much pain. She also said Mark was behaving well in prison and was working hard to reform himself. She said he wanted her to tell me that he sincerely wished me happiness. Reading the letter, I felt a mix of emotions. I didn't hate his mother. She was a victim, too. She raised a son, never expecting him to go down such a dark path. I wrote back to her telling her that I had forgiven everything, that I was very happy now, and that she shouldn't blame herself. I also told her that everyone makes mistakes, and the important thing is to learn from them. I hoped Mark would reflect on his actions in prison and start a new life when he got out. After writing that letter, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. I had finally let go of the past. I had truly forgiven Mark, and I had forgiven myself. Last fall, our baby was born. A beautiful girl. We named her Clara. I want her to grow up in a world of love and have a peaceful and happy life. Looking at my daughter in my arms, I thought about the girl I used to be, naive and easily deceived. I had to go through so much pain to become the woman I am today. I will share my experiences with my daughter. I will teach her to protect herself, to love herself, to tell right from wrong. I will let her know that a woman can be gentle but not weak, kind but not foolish, loving but she must first love herself. Now my life is full and happy. I wake up, take care of my daughter, feed her, change her, play with her. When she's asleep, I go to the coffee shop to help out. Even with a child, I haven't given up my career. Ben is incredibly supportive. He always says a woman shouldn't have to give up her dreams just because she gets married and has children. In the afternoons, I take Clara to the park. In the evenings, the three of us have dinner together and talk about our day. This quiet life is everything I ever dreamed of. Last month, the coffee shop hosted a special event. I invited some women who had gone through similar experiences to share their stories. Some were recently divorced and still struggling with the pain. Some were still hesitating, unsure if they should leave their marriages, and some had already moved on and started new lives. I shared my story. I told them that leaving someone who doesn't love you isn't a failure, but a rebirth. I know it's painful. I know you're lost right now, I said. But please believe me, the pain is temporary. If you take that brave step, you'll find a wonderful world waiting for you. But I'm scared. A young woman said, "I'm scared of being alone." "Being alone is better than being in an unhappy marriage," I said. "And who says being divorced means being alone? You can have your friends, your career, your own life, and you can find love again with someone who truly loves you. Are you happy now?" another woman asked. I looked over at Ben, who was standing by the door holding our daughter and smiling at me. "Very happy," I said with a smile. "Happier than I ever imagined." After the event, many people came to thank me. They said my story had given them the courage to face their own lives. They said I had given them hope. made them believe that a woman can live a wonderful life without depending on anyone. I was glad that my experience could help others. Perhaps that is the meaning of pain. It makes us grow, and it enables us to help others grow. This year marks the 5th anniversary of my divorce. In these 5 years, I have been through a lot. I've grown from a dependent woman into an independent, strong one. I've gone from a broken victim to a guide for others. I've transformed from a hopeless divorce into a wife and mother in a happy family. And it's all thanks to that one brave decision I made. If I hadn't decisively transferred the money and filed for divorce after seeing Mark off at the airport, I might still be living a lie, waiting for a man who would never come back. Last week, I attended a seminar on women's independence and growth. The speaker was a well-known female author who shared many stories of female empowerment. Listening to her, I felt deeply moved. I raised my hand to speak. "I'd like to share my story," I said. 5 years ago, I got divorced. At the time, everyone said I was foolish, impulsive, that I would regret it. But today, 5 years later, I can proudly say that I have no regrets. Getting divorced was the best decision I ever made. The audience applauded. Divorce allowed me to find myself again, I continued. In my marriage, I lost myself, my dreams, my ability to think independently. I gave everything to my husband, thinking that was love. But I learned that a love where you lose yourself has no foundation. So I want to tell all the women out there, whether you're single, in a relationship, or married, remember to never lose yourself. You can love someone, but you must first love yourself. You can give to someone, but never lose your identity. Because only when you are strong and independent can you find true happiness. The room erupted in another round of applause. After the seminar, many people came up to me wanting to hear more of my story. I was happy to share. I hope my experience can help more women learn to love, respect, and protect themselves. Last night, my daughter said, "Mama." For the first time, I cried with joy. I held her close and whispered in my heart, "My baby, Mama will always love you and protect you. I will raise you in a world of love, and you will grow up to be an independent, strong, and kind girl." Ben came over and wrapped his arms around us. "We'll protect her together." I leaned against his shoulder, looking at my daughter in my arms, my heart overflowing with happiness. This is the life I've always wanted. A loving husband, a beautiful daughter, my own career, and my own friends. I no longer need to depend on anyone. I can live my life independently and face the world on my own terms. This story is over. Thank you for listening. See you in the next.